this is Janie from Janie's Journals, and I am starting a new project. It's going to be a nature journal, and I got so many comments on the torn edge pages of my Forest Fairy journal. I wanted to kind of show you the process that I use to do that. I start, well, and I'll link that Forest Fairy journal below if you want to take a look at what I'm talking about, but I start out with a variety of book pages. This is a fairly new book. You can see that the pages are still a bright white. I would not use too many of these because you have to really treat them to go for that vintage look that I like. And then I have these book pages, and this one is really old and it's very fragile. You can see that when you fold the page, it almost tears the paper. So in order to use this, I would need to glue two of these together so that it's strong enough to even tear it. And then I use, this is a old literary Britain book, and you can see the pages are fairly cream colored. And then this next one, these pages are a little bit smaller, and they're that old looking paper too. This one actually does fold though. It doesn't tear whenever you fold it, so it's not as fragile and brittle as the other one. But I get a variety of colors of the pages and a variety of sizes, because like with this nature journal, I kind of have an idea what size the pages are going to end up like. But in order to get there, see, like this one, whenever I glue two of these pages together, I would need to tear all of this, these edges away so that I have the text showing on my layers. And then I also have down here, I don't normally do pages with pictures, but this is, what was this? Let me see. This is a McCall's Needlework Treasury that I found at a sheltered workshop. The pages are nice and big. That's the one thing I like about it. They're kind of an ivory color. They're not like this bright white. So that I like. And it has got all kinds of pictures in it that look almost textile. They have a lot of texture to them. And I think that those textures, like this here, even poking out from underneath the layer of book page, is going to really look good. I think it will. I've never tried it. So that is going to be a first for me, and I will show you my process. What I start out with, I need a roller, and I need something that I can smooth the glue out with. This is a car detailer that I use. I got it on Amazon, and it's a thing. I think that they use this to put like the tinted sheets on windows. I think that's what this is for. It's Pro Tint Bono, B-O-N-O-O. Pro Tint Bono. I have no idea, but that's what it says. And then I also use Yes Paste, and this stuff is fantastic for doing things like this, gluing things together to make them stronger. This is not my first choice. If I were going to put an embellishment in my book, this is not what I would reach for, because it's very thick and it's very sticky. And whenever you first put it on, oh, you're going to need something that you can scoop it out with too. But when you first put it on your page, it's like this, and it's just real thick looking. But after you get it on the page and you start moving it around, it becomes almost liquidy, and it smooths out pretty well. I've lined my tabletop here with a black industrial strength trash bag, so that any mess that I make is going to definitely not ruin my tabletop. So I am just gonna start going with this. One thing I forgot to mention that you might want is baby wipes, because this glue will get all over the place and then your paper will start sticking to your bag. So every now and then you got to stop and just clean it up a little. I am gonna stand up and try to show you this. So what I have are these book pages here, and in the center of them they are pretty fragile. Some of them are even ripped a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my glue down, and then when I go to put the second page on, instead of putting each seam right on top of each other, I'm just slightly moving one over so that the edge of the paper, you can see here, doesn't exactly match up, but that will make this a little bit stronger. So if I choose to use this entire page in a book and I want that to be my center seam, then I can still do that as long as I have it just a little bit cockeyed. And one other thing that I'm doing too is if I have a page like this that has a lot of blank area in it, so I can do this one of two ways. I can either use this and cover it with a full sheet of text so that both sides have text on them, or I can do it the opposite way and have just some text over here in this blank open space that I can turn into a journaling spot in the book so that the page itself can be journaled on. So I kind of try to keep that in mind as I'm going along to each page. I know this sounds silly, but each page kind of tells me how it's going to work out in the book. So I just pay attention to where the text is and where I might want it. I'm also putting the glue on the center sections of the pages where the text is going to be found, and on the very center here, because chances are I'm going to tear around this. So there's no need in wasting glue if I don't have to use it. But later on, if I decide that I don't want to tear that particular page, all I have to do is go back in and lift up these edges that were not glued and just put a little glue in them. It's really not a difficult thing to fix that. I just finished this one and I realized I put my text opposite of each other. Didn't I? Did I? Let me see. Yes, I did. So So it's up right here, and the back side it's upside down, which is not a big deal. I mean, the text is only there for decorative purposes, so it's not that big a deal. So I have a nice little stack with a variety of 2-ply book pages now. Got all of these, more than I will need for this one journal for sure, but I will have them for other projects as well. So now the next thing I'm going to do is decide if I'm going to use other papers, which I know I am. And since it is a nature journal, I'm going to try to keep with kind of neutral shades. I do have these envelopes that I opened up and I've coffee stained, so those are really nice. And then I have some tissue paper. I've got some dark brown here, and I have some ivory, and then I have some packing paper from Amazon. This one is real wrinkled, which I don't mind because it kind of looks natural, but I also have some that is smoothed out a little bit more, and I have this in a real light gray and an ivory as well. So those will be some more layers for my pages. So now I'm going to work on, I know the size that I'm going to do. I don't know for a fact these are the covers I'm using, but these are the ones that I've been kind of messing around with. And the journal itself will be about this size. So what I can do is go through and start tearing my book pages down to this size. Okay, so I'm just gonna mess around now until I decide what papers I want to put together and how I'm gonna layer them. So on this one, for instance, if you'll notice, when I tore this one, I tore both of these book pages together, but they came up with different layers anyway. So that's going to look really nice when it's put one right on top of the other. And it did it on the back side a little bit too. So I like that. And then if I wanted to, I could actually go in and add like maybe one of these book pages to it to make it a third layer. But I don't know, it just, I kind of do what I feel like doing at the moment. And right now this one is good enough to leave like this. So now what I'll do is glue these pages together because I like the way that this looks. And this is going to be how they are in my book. And I start with this top one, and I just make sure that the edges are fairly covered. I don't go all the way out to the edge, just simply because that if the edge is lifted up a little bit, I can curl it, I can tear it, I can still tuck something underneath there if I need to. So, and if I don't need to and I want it flat, I can always glue it in better later. And then do the other side as well. And I'm going to leave this flat to dry. I know I'm really shaking that camera. I'm going to leave this flat like this to dry so that whenever I go to fold it, I can fold all of them as one unit. So there's that page. This tissue paper, it will tear one direction pretty well, but the other direction is very rough, which I'm going to leave it like that. But now again, I will ink every layer and then I will glue them all together. One thing I am going to do different with the tissue paper, I'm going to use glue stick on it because it is so thin and so hard to control, and it tends to get a little bit wrinkled, I guess, whenever you put it down. So I'm going to start with glue stick on one half. And you have to be so careful with this. And we will fold that across there. See, it's already trying to get wrinkly, which is fine. It's a nature journal, so you want it to look organic. Okay. Okay, so that is that page, and again I'll let it dry flat. Another thing with this Yes paste, when you're finished, you definitely want to go around the rim of the jar and take off any of that excess glue there, because I can't tell you how many times I've had to take my glue jar to my husband and ask him to open it for me because I've glued it together. So there we go. Cleans up good with soap and water too. Okay, so I have so far done 3 pages, and here is what happens as you layer them. as you put them together for a signature. See? They layer so nicely. And I'll be doing other pages for this nature journal, not necessarily all book page like this, but I'm going to be messing with my jelly plate and doing some prints on it. And I have a few things left from the Flower Fairy journal that I didn't get to use there. So that's it for this part of the videos, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.